Zach, let's take a little departure from the conversation of the offense for the moment and talk about the secondary, because we want to put on our rose-colored glasses, Zach, and explain to people why the future is bright for potentially the Eagles cornerbacks. Brought to you by Shady Rays. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY at checkout, or 35% off polarized sunglasses. For 35% off polarized sunglasses. Today, Zach, interesting, because yesterday we saw Kelee Ringo working with the ones. Today, it was a rotation. Started off first set of plays for the first team defense, Isaiah Rodgers on the outside. Second set, Kelee Ringo on the outside opposite Darius Slay. Then they come back for the third one, and it's Quinyon Mitchell with the starters for the first time that we have seen opposite Darius Slay. And then later in practice, Cooper DeJean working with the ones as the nickel corner. So you're seeing a lot of those guys rotating in with the ones, and frankly, they've all looked pretty good. Now, this is sort of in conjunction with the offense not necessarily lighting things on fire, but Quinyon Mitchell working with the ones today for the first time that we saw. Zach, what did you make of that?
What did I make of it? I didn't make too much of it because I still feel like he's behind Rodgers and Ringo, or Ringo and Rodgers in the pecking order.
You do?
Quinyon?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you disagree?
Well, I'm talking about like in the horse race, the jockeying for.
I still think it's going to be Quinyon. I still think it's. I'm saying right now though.
Well, sure.
He's not getting first team snaps over those guys, right?
Yeah, but we have talked about is Vic Fangio willing to play these rookies with the starters? Yeah. And we didn't even get to training camp before we've now seen Quinyon Mitchell rotating with the ones.
Yeah, so then maybe that is a sign of progress for Quinyon. I think that Isaiah Rodgers and Kelee Ringo have jumped out to me more during these sessions than Quinyon Mitchell has. But this isn't to say Quinyon has played poorly. Yeah, as you say it, the fact that it's mandatory minicamp and he is getting work with the ones can be interpreted as a positive sign, right? He also he got snapped with the ones in 7-on-7. They had a 4 cornerback look there. They had a dime look there.
They worked on dime a lot on defense today, and Quinyon Mitchell was throughout one of the 2 inside corners in those dime packages.
Exactly,
which was interesting. And actually, what was also interesting, and to correct something from yesterday, we said that we didn't see Cooper DeJean work on the outside yesterday. Someone did correct me and say that there was at least one snap yesterday where that was the case. And today in dime with the 2s, Cooper DeJean was on the outside, not on the inside, which was a little bit interesting.
Yeah. But I think the future is bright interpretation of this is that the cornerbacks have played so well that it is not egregious or glaring that Quinyon Mitchell hasn't been like a regular with the ones, because like I said, you can make a strong case for Kelee Ringo, who gets his hands on pass attempts, who is tight in coverage. Isaiah Rodgers, who's been a strong performer here. And I've made this comparison on the show before, and I will continue to say it, and I will write it. The cornerbacks this year remind me of the wide receivers going into the 2017 season, where the Eagles addressed it during the offseason. They were deeper than they had been in a few years, and they had a surplus in training camp, and they traded from that position of strength because the Eagles have, 4 guys really, and that's not even including their starter the past 2 years, who was a second-team All-Pro, right? They have 4 guys who I think you can make a case could be a starter on the outside for you week 1. And
that's also not including Cooper DeJean.
Then that's not even including Cooper DeJean. Yeah. So this is a position of strength. I give them credit in that they took, they had some options at this position before, they traded their 2024 pick for Kelee Ringo. Like we said, their 2024 3rd-round pick for Kelee Ringo, and he's entering year 2 of development. They had Isaiah Rodgers waiting in the wings, right? But you didn't know about either one of them, right? There's still projection there, and they still spend their 1st and their 2nd-round pick on a cornerback, and now they have more depth at that spot, young depth, quality depth, that they've had in a long time. So if there's any position where you say the future is brighter than what it had been, I think cornerback is where there's been the biggest overall improvement on the depth chart.
So do you think, let's say that we make it through training camp with everybody healthy in that secondary, do you think it gets to a point preseason where they feel like they need to deal somebody? It's not going, and I mean from the top 5. So meaning basically Ringo, Rodgers, or Slay, which I think is probably unlikely, but
trading one of those guys,
one of the top 5.
No, that would really surprise me, just because you still don't know how the 2 rookies are going to look, right? Even if they show promise in training camp, they're still rookies. And Slay is, he's on the older side here, right? Obviously. So you want to have those starting options. I think it's more you trade from your depth. Now, I don't know what value Eli Ricks will have, but that's the name you brought up, and that's the name I would look at. Now, to your point, the Eagles traded Jordan Matthews in 2017, to use that example. Jordan Matthews he entered camp as a top 3 receiver for them. He was their leading receiver the previous season. I think the previous 2 seasons for them, right? So that would be akin to trading, someone notable. But
would you agree that Rodgers of the 5 is the most likely to be dealt?
Probably so, because there's the least amount of term on his deal, right? So if you're looking simply at where they are long term, you have 2 years left after this, so 3 years left on Kelee Ringo's year.
You have already made something from your investment, like
exactly.
You're signing up for, it's not you're selling maybe a little bit early, but you've already made good on the investment.
Exactly. It's like they were so proud of the Sam Bradford trade, because like they signed him to a contract and then they trade him, and it's like they bought this draft pick, right? And so so you basically got something for, I don't want to say for nothing, but a small investment you turn into something that you like. But I think that because Slay might not be here beyond this season, and because you don't know how these rookies are going to pan out, I think if you have 4 corners, 26 and under, what, Rodgers is 26, or is he 25? But in any event, Kelee Ringo is 21, turns 22 next month, right?
26 for Rodgers.
26 and under. Quinyon Mitchell, 22. Cooper DeJean, 21. I think you want those 4 guys here, and then you try to figure it out beyond the season. But I would agree, of those 4, Rodgers would be the one most apt to trade.
We all silly like the mayor.